We live in a time where the number of guns available is just ridiculous. There's so many varieties of guns, and some of the greatest guns and the greatest innovations, we're living in that time right now. But there's been some guns over the history of the gun that are just the best. And no matter what else has been invented, no matter what other new technologies have come out, there are just some things that are just simply the best. That's obviously a very difficult thing to say about a gun because there's a lot of opinion in that as well. So coming up with the 20 best guns ever made has really been a terrible task to have. It's really difficult to come up with this 20 list. I do believe no matter who you are, if you know something about guns, as I go over the top 20 best guns ever made, you're going to agree with a lot of them. And there's probably some that you're going to end up saying, well, wait a second, what about the, and then just fill in that blank. This was a very difficult list to come up with. And I do have some runners up. I typically don't give the runners up, but because I know it's hard to come up with the best guns ever made list, you got to have some runners up. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This is the 20 best guns ever made. Came up with this list based on a few things other than my personal opinion. There's a large variety and purposes of guns that I have on this list as well. So a big part of it was public opinion on who thinks what's best. Numbers sold, proven track record, performance, durability. Now what I'm talking about with durability is battle worthy or hunting worthy with decades of years of use. And that's how I came up with this list. So we'll just get started right away with number 1, the 1911. Invented by John Browning, this is a semi-automatic, single-action, recoil-operated pistol, typically shooting a .45 ACP. This was the first military semi-automatic sidearm, being originally used by the Air Force and the Marines in 1911 and then adjusted to the entire military force from 1911 to 1984 when it was replaced by the Beretta 92. There's been countless numbers of 1911 made. It's probably the most popular style of pistol even today. Most modern semi-automatic pistols in some way have been based on the 1911 design. Number 2, Mauser 98. There's been over 100 million Mauser 98s made, also referred to as the Urich 98. It is a German bolt rifle that is stripper clip loaded, produced between 1898 and 1935. Played a significant role in both World War I and World War II, firing the 7.92 by 57. Even today, most modern bolt rifles are based on the M98's design and engineering. Number 3, CZ75. This is, in my opinion, the best pistol design really ever. Love the internal slide. I think it's what makes it more accurate over most other semi-automatic pistols. It is a semi-auto 9mm, and it is the most potential for accuracy and consistency than any other general design, I believe. That internal design was originally based off of the Sig P226. However, the CZ75 took it to a whole new level, with over 1 million produced and with several other manufacturers using this design, including Tangfolio and EAA. And there are so many variations of the CZ75 that there's about one for everybody. Number 4, the Ruger 1022. This is a 10-round rotary magazine originally, but it also comes with 15 and 25-round magazines. It is a .22 LR semi-automatic rifle. Production began in 1964, and since then there's been over 5 million produced. It's very reliable, incredibly accurate. There's a large variety and endless modifications you can do to this rifle. There's very few Ruger 1022s alike after the owners have had it for a month or so. Number 5, the AK-47. This is a full auto and semi-automatic rifle, firing the 7.62 by 39. Produced between 1945 and still being produced today by manufacturers all over the world. It passed the official military trials in 1945 with the Soviet Army and has had a role in almost every national conflict in the world since. Significantly used by Eastern Bloc nations and the Eastern countries, between 1949 and present there's been over 75 million produced. Over 100 million if you include the rest of the Kalashnikov family, and it's still the choice rifle for many Americans today for sport shooting or self-defense. Number 6, Winchester Model 1894. This is a lever-action repeating rifle designed by John Browning in 1894. It's originally chambered in a 32-40 Winchester, a 38-55 Winchester, but it was the first rifle to use a 30 WCF, which later became known as the 30-30. It is quite possibly the most popular hunting rifle ever made. Number 7. Mossberg 500. This is a pump-action 12-gauge shotgun that is a series of shotguns to include the 590, all of which have the same basic receiver and action. Typically fires a 12, 20, or 410 shotgun shell, but it is the shotgun of choice for many military and PD around the world, also for home defense. With almost 11 million produced, it happened to be the very first firearm I ever owned as well. Number 8. Ruger Blackhawk. This is a single-action revolver invented in 1953 as the single 6.22 LR. However, the Blackhawk came out in 1955 firing the .357, and then in 1956 it fired the .44 Magnum. At the time, it was the only available .44 Magnum outside the Smith & Wesson Model 29, and it took the world by storm with the popularity of Westerns. Many would argue it is the most accurate revolver ever made, most people choosing it for hunting with pistols. Number 9. The Beretta 92. Originally taking some engineering design from the M1923 and the Walther P38. This semi-automatic 9mm was invented in 1972 and produced between 1975 and present. It replaced the M1911 as the U.S. military sidearm in 1985, and then they called it the M9. It is sidearm for much of the world. Many military and PD even today continue to use the Beretta 92. Many firearm enthusiasts will argue it's the best sidearm out there. Number 10. Springfield 1903 is a bolt-action rifle firing the .30-06. It was a U.S. military rifle from 1903 to some degree present time, using it in many drill guards. It was used between 1903 and 1949 with over 3 million built. It played a big role in World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and even the Vietnam War. Number 11. Smith & Wesson Model 29. A 6-shot double-action, single-action, large end-frame revolver firing the .44 Magnum. Invented in 1955, it was largely due to the production of the Smith & Wesson .44 Magnum. It's famous for and over a lot of great revolvers because of its ability to be the first .44 Magnum double-action, single-action revolver ever made, and to some degree the most reliable ever made. And of course, Clint Eastwood made it wildly famous in his Dirty Harry movies. Number 12. The Marlin 336. It's a lever-action 30-30 repeating rifle produced in 1948 to present. However, the 336 evolved from the 1893 repeating rifle, which was changed slightly in 1936 as the Model 36, and then again in 1948, instead of calling it the Model 48, they just called it the 336. Being one of the first side ejector repeating rifles ever made, with its incredible accuracy and reliability, the 336 is a choice hunting rifle for many Americans. Number 13. The Glock 17. This semi-automatic 9mm double-stack sidearm was invented in 1982, and this was the very first Glock handgun ever made. They called it the 17 because it was the 17th patent owned by Gaston Glock. He had earlier patents being military knives and camera parts, being 1 through 16. It is a semi-automatic striker-fired polymer lower with a Glock safety trigger in 9mm, which made it incredibly innovative for its time. The Glock 17 gets it for its incredible proven battle duty CCW self-defense pistol, which works every time with incredible tactical advantage and accuracy. That's why the Glock 17 gets a spot. Number 14. The Browning High Power. This semi-automatic 9mm single-action 13-round handgun was designed by John Browning, but following his death it was completed by Diodati Suave in 1935. It continued production until 2017, when Browning just recently stopped it. Fabrique National and Belgium were the first producers of the Browning High Power. However, during World War II, when Germany overtook Belgium, they overtook the Browning High Power plant. Some spies were able to get in and smuggle the plans all the way to Canada, which then the Allies started to produce it in Canada. It was used and heavily produced by both sides. It's one of the very first handguns, if not still the only handgun, being produced by both sides of a major war. It's a heavy military and PD use worldwide. as well as being a double stack with 13 rounds, was absolutely unheard of during its time. Number 15, the AR-15. This is a semi-automatic rifle firing the 5.56 or the .223. After getting past its early jamming issues in Vietnam, it's seen almost every battlefield on the planet since its beginning, like the AK-47. It still continues to be the choice for most military and PD worldwide. It's the first choice for sportsmen and self-defense in America. Its incredible accuracy, reliability, and capacity mixed with so many modifications. There are very few AR-15s alike after an owner has had it for a few months. Number 16, the Colt Single Action Army. This is a 6-shot single-action revolver dubbed the M1873, or the Model P. It's also referred to as the Peacemaker. It was invented in 1872 for the 1873 military trials. Private production began in 1883 and off and on even to this present. General Patton carried one in World War II with an ivory handle. There's countless versions produced, still an awesome choice for hunting or a ranch sidearm. I personally bought in a Beretta Model 1873 45 long Colt with a 3.5-inch barrel and a bird's head grip for CCW. It's kind of my CCW cannon. Haven't found a good CCW holster for it, but I'm still looking. In addition, this firearm has a rich American West history. Number 17, the Savage 110. This is a bolt-action repeating rifle chambered in ridiculous amounts of rounds and variations. It was designed in 1956 and continues production to present. It is the oldest continuously produced rifle in the United States. Savage goal with this rifle was to be lightweight, affordable, extremely accurate from their forged barrels. The brilliant locking design of their bolts and a Savage AccuTrigger, this is, in my opinion, one of the most accurate out-of-the-box rifles that there are. And in many cases, you can get it under $400, mixed with an incredible variety of stocks and barrels. Number 18, the Sig P226. This is a full-size semi-automatic, high-capacity 9mm, traditionally, but it also fires the 40 and 357 Sig, as well as the 22 LR. It was invented between 1980 and 1983. It was designed to be the U.S. sidearm in the XM9 service trials, being beaten out by the Beretta 92 due to a lower price point. However, both the 92 and the Sig 226 did pass grueling trials. Sig P226 is choice for military and PD sidearm around the world. Still choice for many for self-defense and home defense. It's on this list for its extreme accuracy, reliability, and battle-proven worthiness. Number 19, the Remington 870 pump-action 12-gauge shotgun traditionally, but it also fires the 20-gauge and the 410. This is a shotgun of choice, and it is the shotgun for military and PD all over the world. Production began in 1950 to present, and it is over 11 million produced. It has a great variety of use and is the choice shotgun for hunting, military, police, as well as self-defense. And finally, number 20, the M1 Garand. This is a gas-operated rotating bolt, clip-fed semi-automatic firing the 30-06. It's known for its quick reloading and incredible accuracy. Designed in 1928 and produced mostly between 1934 and 1957, with some still being produced today. Been over 5.5 million of these produced. An outstanding semi-automatic with performance over 500 yards. General Patton referred to this rifle as the greatest battle implement ever devised. These are extremely expensive and hard to get because then President Barack Obama banned import of the M1 Garand, most of them coming from Korea, which we originally produced and sent over there. However, it's becoming more and more difficult just to get your hands on an M1 Garand. So there you go, there's my top 20 list of the best guns ever made. Now I did have some runners up because this was a very difficult list to make, and I know there's some that you're saying, hey, wait, what about this one or that one? So I did have some runners up that I think are worth of mentioning. We're going to start off with the Colt Python. Great revolver, some might argue the best ever made, but I didn't put it on this list, and I typically don't put it on the best list, primarily due to much of the Colt Python being handmade. It's known for its timing being off after heavily being used, and if I owned a Colt Python, I would definitely heavily use it. Also, the runners-up were Ruger number 1. Love the Ruger number 1, great gun, but I didn't put it on this list because it was a single shot. I also didn't put on the Mosin Nagant. I know the Mosin Nagant's still to this day a choice bolt-action rifle, but I didn't put it on it because it's just not as accurate as the other bolt-action rifles I have on this list. And then also the Model 70. The Winchester Model 70 is a great rifle. It's referred to as the rifleman's rifle. However, because it, as well as the Model 94, had some pretty inexpensive decades of production, making its quality run down quite a bit based on the year you buy, I didn't put the Model 70 on there. I did put the Model 94 on there because I felt like they both deserved to be on the list. I just put the 94 on there because I couldn't put them both on there. And the 94 is just a much, much more popular rifle. So there you go. There's my runners-up as well as my top 20 list of the best guns ever made. I know there's a lot of them I probably didn't mention because, again, a lot of this is somewhat of an opinion, but I did use a lot of other variables to make this list. So I'd be curious what you think. Put them in the comments below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. You can also now find us on Facebook and Instagram and godfamilyandguns.org. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests, so never hesitate to send that stuff in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.